Alright, what is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome back here today to another episode of the Just Ballin' podcast. So recently on my Ross channel, I dropped my final 30-team NBA rankings for the 2025 NBA season, and Bleacher Report just came out with their final rankings of this season, and I just basically want to compare them and see what I agree with or disagree with. As man, that race in the Western Conference, like what a way to end the season, right? Like between Minnesota, Memphis, both LA teams, Golden State, Denver. You really can't beat it, man. I'm glad we kind of have some type of parity here. I feel like stakes would be a little bit higher if the play-in tournament wasn't a thing. Well, I mean, the play-in tournament wasn't a thing. Everybody would be fine, I guess, because Dallas and Sacramento wouldn't make it. But I don't know. I'm also not a big fan of the play-in tournament, but I don't think the NBA is getting rid of it anytime soon. So at 30, we got the Utah Jazz. I hope this isn't just like a record ranking, basically. I do think the Jazz are probably the worst team in the league after the deadline, at least watching them in the second half. Charlotte, I think, could also have a say in that for sure. Philly in the second half. But I do think Washington has actually been a little bit more competitive, it feels like, in the second half with their veterans, their young guys improving. I think Bub and Keyshawn have had nice second halves as well. Utah, on the other hand, yep, they're going to lose a lot of games. Something they should have did in 2023. I don't think they're losing sleep, not bottoming out in 2024. But hey, Stephon Castle on this team would be nice. But yeah, they're going to have a chance to get a top 6 or top 5 pick regardless. I think they need, because I'm sure they have the Wizards. Okay, no, they're the Charlotte Hornets. I was going to say, like, I think the Jazz are fine enough. Like, when you guys may see this, we may officially know if they get the worst record in the league. So then the worst thing you could fall to is pick 5. So they're guaranteed, like, a solid prospect in this draft. But obviously, they have their eyes set on Cooper Flagg. And, I mean, some teams are going to be left very disappointed. Some are going to be very happy. I mean, I'm really excited to see who ends up getting Cooper Flagg on the draft lottery. But yeah, the Jazz have been a tough watch. I mean, Cody Williams hasn't been really super exciting there. We're seeing just a lot of guys just like kind of get runtime throughout the half of the last part of the season. But Collier looks like he's something. Charlotte Hornets, I guess it's fitting that LaMelo is in non-NBA attire, uniform attire for this photo. Yeah, the Hornets have been a tough watch in the second half. I was somebody that had a lot of Nick Smith Jr. stock coming out of the 23 draft. Don't know if I've gotten a good return on my investment there. I think Diabate and Mark Williams have been, I think, a solid center duo in the second half. But, like, what do I get out of watching Seth Curry or Miles Bridges or just, like, these random guys in Charlotte that I don't think have a big part in their future? They've had some really bad losses in the second half, but they did beat the New York Knicks. It was, like, I forget when, end of March. It was, like, the round of the 64 weekend in the March Madness tournament. I don't want to talk about it. So we got Washington here at 28. I think this is exactly how I started off my top 3. I think so. Because, yeah, I think Washington has been a little bit more exciting in the second half, and they've been a little bit more fun to watch as well. 27, we got Philadelphia. It's been the Quitting Grimes show, maybe a little bit of Justin Edwards, maybe a little bit of a Dembona, but this team is actively tanking. I mean, Sixers fans are probably the only fan base that is really rooting for them to get the number 1 overall pick. I wonder how everybody will feel if they get the number 1 overall pick, because this team has actively tanked more than I've ever seen a team actively tank before. Maybe not. Maybe that's a stretch. But yeah, they're resting guys left and right. I mean, I'm seeing like injury reports where it's like return to conditioning. They're out. Like, they're not even conditioning. We're returning to the conditioning, which is probably going to make them out for a few more games. I don't know. I think the Jazz already got fined this year for the tampering for tanking. Philly, though, man, if they get Cooper Flagg with Grimes, Maxey, and McCain, I mean, I'd like to see them get Dylan Harper, and they're just going to have, like, a lot of cool guards on their team with Maxey, McCain, Grimes, and Harper. Maybe it would be a good problem to have, but yeah, they're really just hoping they get some lottery luck. I think right now they're the 5th best odds, so the odds are in their favor that they keep the pick. They would have to see 2 teams leapfrog in the top 4, which I think we did see last year with Atlanta and Houston via Brooklyn to get that number 1 or get a top 4 pick. Pelicans here, 26th. Also not a surprise. I mean, they basically are also trying to tank a little bit. They basically rolled out everybody this year. Zion, Murphy, who's been out for the year, Hawkins. It's really just Yves Missi and Karl Makovic I've been enjoying watching on this team going forward. A little bit of Brandon Boston. I mean, when Alvarado was out there, at least he gave a crap. But yeah, not a fun season for somebody that had some Pelican stock. I had more Pelican stock and King stock than my portfolio could hold, and I was definitely over leveraged this season. Shout out to the Brooklyn Nets being number 25 with a bottom roster in this league. Like, yeah, Drew Timmy is the cover photo, and that's somebody we've I guess known throughout college at Gonzaga, a very talented player there. I think he had like a 50-point performance in the G League this year. And yeah, he even had like 20 points in a game this year. But the Nets, I think, just won too many games this year. I don't know if that's Jordy Fernandez. I don't know if that was just like having so many guys on their roster that have experience like Keon Johnson and Zaire Williams that are trying to earn more money in this league. So they're trying every single night rather than throwing out like a bunch of like second round picks, undrafted guys that are also trying but don't really have a rhythm in the NBA. We got the Raptors here at 24. It's been a disappointing year for the Raptors. And it's also kind of a shame that we aren't going to see Brandon Ingram on this team this year as they've rolled him out for the year. So it's going to be an expensive roster going into next year with the Barnes contract extension kicking in, and you got Quickly and Barrett. Ingram, Pirtle, and Barnes are all making notable money. Like, this team's over the salary cap with those 5 guys alone. But Grady Dick, a potential top 10 pick, most likely a top 10 pick. Who knows? Maybe they end up with Cooper Flagg. And then I would be really intrigued to see, like, who's the odd man out. Like, obviously, it's not going to be Scotty or Flagg. Does it end up being Ingram or RJ Barrett? Next up at 23, we have the San Antonio Spurs, another team that once Wemby went down, even though they went like a buy now, like a win now move with Fox, but that was more for the future. We thought they could make the play-in tournament, and honestly, them finishing with around 35 wins, without Wemby for most of the second half. Pretty impressive stuff over there in San Antonio. And obviously, they're looking at the future more. They're going to be a team that a lot of people are going to be high on in 2026, and rightfully so. Imagine they get Cooper Flagg. Imagine somebody comes available and they make a trade. I don't think they're going to be a Kevin Durant trade. But speaking of Kevin Durant, we got the Phoenix Suns there at 22. I think I had them at 20. Like, I think I still had the Bulls behind them, but maybe I shouldn't have. As the Suns have been the most disappointing team this year. They've officially been eliminated from the play-in tournament. It kind of reminds me a little bit like when Dallas got eliminated from the play-in tournament in 2023. But they at least had a future with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, and their first-round pick. The Suns, while they do have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, they don't have a lot of draft capital. They're probably going to have to trade KD, and they have the worst contract in the NBA, probably for production, and that is Bradley Beal, who has a no-trade clause. Portland at 21? Really? Like, I think Portland's better than Chicago. Chicago's cooled down a little bit as of late. I even think Portland would be better than Miami. I know Miami's been playing better too, but honestly, Portland, like, it's crazy how, like, different directions teams could be going in. Like, Portland at 21 is so much more exciting than Phoenix at 22. Like, a lot more going forward. And they both missed the play-in tournament this year based on their circumstances. You got the Chicago Bulls there at 20, another team that maybe won too many games. I'm not really sure if they're going to get out of the play-in tournament because, I mean, they're a competitive team. I think if I had to make, like, an early play-in tournament guess, I think Miami beats... it depends on like where Atlanta, Miami, and Chicago end up, but I think it's going to be Miami and Orlando. I think the Florida teams are going to make it out. I don't know what Miami would prefer because Miami does not own their first round pick if they make the playoffs. But yeah, Chicago here at 20. It's been the Kobe White, Josh Giddey, Matas Buzella show in the second half, and they're obviously figuring out what they're going to be in 26. I would have liked them to lose a couple more games. Maybe they could have gone a blue chip prospect in the draft. Like, I would have loved Ace Bailey on this team going forward, but the odds are not going to be in their favor. But hey, the Atlanta Hawks were in this position last year in the play-in tournament, and they ended up getting that man, Zachary Sachet, and the Hawks are coming in here at 19. So yeah, we basically got those Eastern Conference play-in tournament teams, and I'm excited. Like, I made a podcast episode that you guys probably haven't seen yet. But yeah, I'm very excited on the Atlanta Hawks going into the 2026 season. I think they're a team that probably needs a lot of respect based off their young talent and the way they've been improving, and they have flexibility both financially and draft capital wise in the offseason where they can even improve on the margins, but they could just basically run this team back. And I think it'd be a fun team if Sachet, Daniels, Trey, and Johnson are all healthy. I like Mohamed Gay. I like Vic Krejci. I like LeVert on this team. I think they could be a fun team going forward next year. And I do think, I don't know, I like Orlando to make it out of the play-in. Maybe Atlanta ends up beating Miami. Sacramento at 18. I mean, you show somebody this earlier in the year and you're like, how did we get Zach LaVine? Well, yeah. You're like, oh, did we trade away Malik Monk and like DeMar DeRozan? Is DeRozan on the Bulls again? No, you traded away De'Aaron Fox for Zach LaVine. And like, talent-wise, they're not far apart. Fox is a better player, but long-term, I mean, I'd rather have Fox on my team. I feel like LaVine's been fine, pretty much as advertised for this team going forward. They're 36-40. At the moment I'm recording this. I mean, maybe they make it out of the play-in tournament. They could score a lot. I mean, their defense isn't great, but they also just lost Malik Monk for basically the season or for a while. So I don't think they're going to make it out. I think they're a team that's going to be at crossroads in the offseason. And unless their pick gets insane luck, like that pick's going to Atlanta. It's going to end up most likely at 13 or 14, which of course that pick's top 12 protected. Shout out Kevin Herter. We have Dallas at 17. I mean, they just had an unfortunate night. Like, Luka goes off against them. AD plays, and Luka helps the Lakers beat the Mavericks in his return. Nico Harrison was there. Plenty of fire Nico chance. And it's crazy, the downfall of Nico Harrison's perception off one trade. Like, 2022, they make it to the Western Conference Finals. 2023, they trade for Kyrie Irving for a discount. Yeah, they don't make the play-in tournament, but that allows them to trade down in the draft, get off the Davis Bertans money, and get Derek Lively. They ace the 2024 deadline, getting PJ Washington and Gafford, and then they go to the NBA Finals, beating OKC, who did they beat in round one again? They beat the Clippers in round one. They beat Minnesota, and then they go in the offseason. You add Klay Thompson, you add Quentin Grimes for Tim Hardaway Jr., and you add Najee Marshall for $9 million a year. You set yourselves up, and then you trade away Luka Doncic. Kyrie Irving tears his ACL. I just feel bad for Mavericks fans. I really do. We got the Miami Heat here at 16, 35-42 at the moment. Here, they were playing such bad basketball after the Jimmy trade, but they're ending the season on a competitive note. They're a team that I think could also make it out of the play-in tournament. I don't think Chicago's going to make it out. I could be wrong, but at least we're finding out the Ware and Bam experiment is working. Pele Larson is taking some steps this year. I mean, Hero, I don't think could be your number one option going forward. So I do wonder if this team is going to be star hunting yet again in the offseason. Orlando, though, so yeah, I think they're 40-40 now. This has them at 38-40. I think they're going to be a team that's going to make it out of the play-in. Paulo has been playing some really good basketball. Franz has been playing some really good basketball. And I know it sucks that Suggs is hurt and you had so many injuries this year. This is another team I'm super high on in 2026. I would like to see maybe a breakout game from Anthony Black in the playoffs, but I think Orlando is heading in the right direction. They still have one of the best defensive units in the NBA and guys that just play hard every single night. We got Milwaukee here at 14. I mean, Damian Lillard's status is up in the air for round number one. Giannis is still a top player in the NBA. He's probably not one, but he might as well be two or three. I don't love the Kuzma addition, but Kevin Porter Jr. has been a little bit better than him, I would say. It's pretty much, is Lillard going to be back? And is Giannis going to be someone that can carry a mid-level team, a mid-team to a round one series win? I think they could beat Indiana. They could beat New York. They could beat Detroit. I mean, who knows? Giannis could just go nuclear if Dame comes back against Cleveland. I would love that round two matchup. I mean, there's some Cleveland matchups that I don't think it's set in stone that the Cavs are going to make it to the ECF. I think I would bet maybe Boston has a little bit better of a chance because I just don't think New York's beating them. But yeah, I think Giannis, hey, you can rely on one of the best players in the world to maybe carry the load. And I mean, we saw Jimmy Butler beat the Bucks as an 8 seed, basically. I think it's probably more crazy that happening than Giannis beating Cleveland in round two with Dame's help. Coming in at number 13, we had the Detroit Pistons, who, man, what an incredible series or season from the Detroit Pistons after being the laughingstock of the NBA last year. The fact that they're just a top 15 team, they got to be more than happy with this. With the veterans stepping up around Cade Cunningham, with Jalen Duren's defensive improvement in the second half, with Asar Thompson being one of the more athletic players in the NBA. Malik Beasley may win Sixth Man of the Year or is going to get some votes. And Cade Cunningham blossoming into, I think, a superstar before our very eyes. And we could see, we kind of saw Paolo on the big stage last year showcase that, he's here, and this is one of the next best players in the NBA. I think we're going to see that from Cade Cunningham in round one. Coming at 12, we got Memphis, who, I mean, they got a tough end to the season. I think the odds, playoff predictions has them as a play-in tournament team. But yeah, they're pretty much, in limbo right now after firing Taylor Jenkins. They lose Brandon Clark. Jalen Wells, man, that injury against Charlotte was so scary. He's going to be out for the playoffs. And yeah, John Moran has been playing some very good clutch basketball over the second half of this year. Can Ja, Bane, and Triple J all coexist together to upset a team in round one? Because I think there's a very high chance that whoever they play, they're going to be underdogs against. And we'll see if we got that chip on their shoulder mentality for Memphis in the playoffs, or are they going to be a team that might be a first round exit? And we see some notable changes in the offseason. And what type of celebration is Ja going to come out next? We've seen the gun, the shooting. We've seen the grenade launch. Are we going to get a bazooka next? Are we going to get a claymore put down? And you never know. Denver here at 11, we got another team that just fired their head coach, fired their general manager. They were able to win their first game with, is it David Adelman, the head coach, or Rick Adelman? I could be wrong. I don't know why I'm thinking that I saw that was the next head coach. Let me figure it out. Yeah, it is David Adelman, who is the son of Rick Adelman. Didn't put two and two together there. But Denver, man, like another wild card team for the playoffs. Like, I love their top five. I love Murray, Brown, Jokic, Gordon, and Porter Jr. And, like, we know how good Murray could be in the playoffs. I mean, Strother, Russ is something off the bench, and Peyton Watson as well. And then whatever big man you kind of have to throw into the fire. I go back and forth on who I think is the best 2 seed. Like, does Denver just have a flame out and a really disappointing round 1 exit after winning the finals in 2023? Or do they, like, just honestly shut everybody up and showcase, like, they're still one of the best units in the NBA built around Nikola Jokic? Or do you like just like Golden State to make a run over them, or the Lakers, or even the young up-and-coming Rockets? Even the Clippers who slowed the game down. I think there's so many fascinating playoff series. And we haven't even talked about Minnesota. Are they next? Yep, Minnesota's next. I was like surprised. Okay. So Minnesota, a team that could end up in the play-in tournament, could end up making the playoffs. Like, a lot's going to be figured out. I think you guys may see this over the weekend, so I think we already figured some stuff out, basically. But yeah, Minnesota, I mean, I still want to be all in on Minnesota. I made a contenders, pretenders episode on the pod, and I picked Minnesota as a contender over LA. I mean, if Minnesota gets OKC in round 1, that's a heck of a series. And I mean, it's not going to be an easy one for OKC, but I think Minnesota would have a disappointing round 1 exit. I think Minnesota, like led by Anthony Edwards, who we've seen in the past as a playoff riser, can be a conference finals team. It's funny because it's like OKC, you kind of want to lock them into a conference finals in a prediction. But man, I think everybody's like, it depends how the seeding lines up, and then we will have more consensus like conference finals opponent against OKC. But it could be like 6 different teams in the West right now, which is kind of cool. Number 9, we have the Indiana Pacers. Now, I would have the Knicks ahead of the Pacers, which I did in my power rankings. But if I had to make a guess who could upset Cleveland or Boston more, Indiana, 100%. I think the Knicks could beat Indiana in a playoff series. I think they would have won last year if OG didn't get hurt and Randall was hurt. I mean, who knows? That might have benefited them. But Mitch Robb got hurt. Bojan got hurt. The Pacers are a good team. Halliburton's struggling over the last week, but has been incredible since December. Siakam's one of the more consistent players in the NBA. Nembhard is a fantastic defender. Miles Turner's still an elite rim protector. I think the Knicks would beat them in a playoff series, but I think it would be very competitive, a la like Knicks Sixers from 2024. Speaking of the Knicks, we have them at number 8. You guys are probably seeing this after they play the Cavs. I think Friday night they play the Cavs. They have a back-to-back with Detroit, but they're resting everybody for Detroit. There's a chance the Knicks go 0-10 this year against the top 3 teams in the NBA. They're going to, I think, go 0-7 if they lose to Cleveland on Friday against Boston. Or no, they'd be 0-8 against Boston and Cleveland because they ended up losing both to OKC this year. It's just not going to get it done in the playoffs, man. OG didn't foul Tatum up 3, and I wonder if that comes down on coaching. And if the Knicks are a round 1 exit, I think they fired Tibbs. I do. It's a lot of pressure in New York, and people are going to be coming for Tibbs' head because you're not moving anybody in the starting 5. I mean, I'm sure you'd love to move Mitch Robb or Deuce, but I think the Knicks really need to improve spots 8 through 10 in the offseason. Like, it can't be Shamit, DeLon Wright, Precious Achiuwa. No, they need upgrades over those guys. And if injuries happen, they need other guys that can step up than a Jericho Sims throughout the year, relying way too much on aerial hook Porty or Pacoma Dadiet, who's so far away from being a good rotational player. Tyler Kolek. I mean, I like him as an initiator, but man, you can't play him out there with Deuce. You need to have him out there with like OG because he's not a great defender. Kevin McCullough, is he going to find playing time? Tibbs doesn't play the young guys either. 7, we got the LA Lakers. I mean, a monster win against Dallas. Feel good story. I mean, they show that that video package with Luka. He's crying, and then he goes out and drops 40 plus against them. I mean, this is an offensive juggernaut between Reeves, LeBron, and Luka. We'll see if their defense can prevail. They have them at 7. Feels a little bit low. Clippers at 6, man. I'm all for Clippers respect. I think it would be dope to see Kawhi get a 3rd ring on 3 teams and Harden to finally get his flowers in a ring. Hopefully Harden actually steps up in the playoffs. I mean, we'll see if they're going to be a play-in tournament team or a top 6 seed, but they're a team that plays great defense, led and anchored by Zubats. And then you have Kawhi, Derrick Jones Jr., and Chris Dunn, all incredible defenders. And then you have some good shooters around them like Harden, Norman Powell, Amir Coffey, Bogdan Bogdanovic has been a great shooter since acquiring him at the deadline. Yeah, I'm in on the Clippers. I'm really intrigued to just see how these playoff seedings work out. Houston at 5, I think another team, it's like, do you value playoff experience more like with the Lakers or the Clippers, the Warriors who we don't have yet here that we're going to have in the top 5? Or do you value the Rockets as like hunger, competitiveness, freshness, like Ahmed Thompson, Şengün, all NBA caliber players this year. Tari Eason, an incredible defender. Jalen Green goes out there every single night and competes. Dylan Brooks, I mean, he's somebody that could show up in the playoffs. Steven Adams, a good rotational big for this team as well. And Fred VanVleet could be a wild card for them. I don't know. They're going to be a 2 seed. But it's just like tough to take like, do you really think Houston's going to beat the Lakers? It's just tough. It really is to say that right now. It's just like LeBron is beating these teams that they're better than on paper, or like similar on paper in the past. It's just like been Denver that's eliminated LeBron in the playoffs as of late. So number 4, we do have Golden State, one of the best teams since the deadline, acquiring Jimmy Butler. They got Kuminga back. Quinn Poe, shout out to him as a 52nd overall pick, being a good floor spacing big. But Steph Curry's been the catalyst of this team. Draymond, yeah, may win DPOY, but Curry has been one of the best offensive players in the league since the deadline, and he's going to make or break the Warriors season. And everybody's okay with that. They want to rely on Steph Curry. They're going to live and die with him, as they should, as he's one of their best players of all time and one of the greatest players of all time. We have Cleveland number 3. So, yeah, the rest of the teams in the top 10 were different for me, but I assume, okay, so I don't know who 2 and 1 is, but I had Cleveland 3 as well. It's just like, I think Cleveland's elite. I mean, everybody does. They won 60 games. They have an amazing top 4. I'm not worried, but I'm questioning how Jared Allen's going to look with Mobley in the playoffs. We've seen it be more bad than good over the last 2 years. The Knicks really abused them in that, like, Mitchell Robinson and Hartenstein outdueled them in 23. And last year, I mean, it wasn't the prettiest thing against Orlando. It wasn't the prettiest thing against Boston. And the best Mobley looked is when Allen was hurt. So they were so good throughout the regular season. They improved this bench. DeAndre Hunter was an A+ acquisition from the deadline. Let's see. Let's see how it works in the playoffs. But I think that caution was my reasoning at 3. Boston at 2. Okay, I had Boston at 1. I just think the experience, if Kristaps is healthy, I do think this is the best team in the NBA. I mean, I'm watching Kristaps hit logo threes, and there's nothing you can do. You have to defend him out there, and he's shooting it over anybody. Because Karl-Anthony Towns, we can use him for example, or Jared Allen, lanky guys, right? Allen's a better defender, but Cat's at least a little more mobile maybe than Allen in a way on the perimeter. Kristaps is shooting it over anybody, and he is an elite 3-point shooter. You add in, hopefully, I mean, we'll see if Jaylen Brown's going to be healthy, but Derek White, Holiday, the way Peyton Pritchard's playing, even Luke Cornett and Sam Hauser gives them gritty, like, grinding minutes out there. And then obviously Jason Tatum. I mean, hey, Jason Tatum didn't get Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He didn't get NBA Finals MVP. He was benched in the Olympics. This would be the time to shut everybody up and showcase that he should be in that Shea, Jokic, Giannis tier, and not in, like, that tier 2 of NBA players right now, which is still a great tier to be in. But I think we don't view Tatum in that top tier yet because we haven't seen that incredible playoff run, which we could definitely see. Like even in 23, right? Where was that 23? Yeah, 23, where they were down 3-2 against the Sixers. He has horrible 3 quarters. I was actually at that game. Goes off in the 4th, keeps their season alive, even though they did lose to Boston in the conference finals. So no surprise here. Number 1, OKC, a team that's going to flirt with 65 wins this year. That's going to have the MVP. That's going to have multiple all defensive guys. And it's time. I mean, you know what's crazy? It's not now or never for OKC. It is finals or bust. But if they don't win it all, they're going to be probably the favorites or number 2 to win it all next year because Shea's in his prime. Chet and J-Dub are still on their rookie contracts. Everybody's locked up and have so many good defenders. Caruso, Joe, Wiggins, Kaysen Wallace, Isaiah Hartenstein. These guys are all locked up, and they're going to have multiple first-round picks in this draft, or at least one via the Clippers. It might just be one. So this team isn't going anywhere. It's really not. They're really set up. Like, if they win it all this year, who's to say they can't win 3 to the next 5 with the core that they got currently? So I was a little bit different. We got a stat of the week, basically. Interesting. I was a Halliburton stat. You know, I'm going to give Halliburton flowers. I have him on my All-NBA 3rd team. So yeah, that is pretty much going to be it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy this. Actually, you know, that makes me think of this. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, you should, at 6 Rings of Stee. It's an I at the end, not an L, but there's my Twitter. Link to that is pretty much always in the YouTube description. But I tweeted out my All-NBA teams and my All-Rookie and defensive teams. You can quickly let me know what you think if you're still watching here on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. My All-NBA first teams I thought was incredibly tough. Shea, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, and Anthony Edwards, which I think is that last spot's up for grabs. I'll be fine with Steph or a couple other guys. A lot of people talk me into Donovan Mitchell, but I think they sacrificed his stats for 60+ wins this year, which I think you do any day of the week. Second team, I had a lot of guards at the top. I had Cade, Jalen Brunson, and Steph Curry. And then my last 2 spots, I went to Cat and LeBron. And my 3rd team, I went with Donovan Mitchell, Mobley. I wanted to get 2 Cavs. Halliburton, James Harden, wanted to get a Clipper, and J-Dub. Honorable mentions, I'm fine if they made it. Şengün, Triple J, Amen Thompson, Garland, and Reeves. You could have thrown Zubats and Jaylen Brown there. And I only picked guys that are on winning records to really narrow down the list to, I think, some of the best, more impactful guys in the league. My all-rookie teams, Let's see, who did I have? I had first team Castle, Risa Shea, Sar, and Wells, which I think are the consensus top 4. And then a couple different guys could be in consideration for the last spot. I went with Kalel Ware. Second team, Zach Edey, Collier, Edwards, Bub, and Matas. Honorable mentions that I'd be fine if they made it. Filipowski, Jacoby Walter, Yves Misi, Klingon, Quidden Post, Delta Connect, and I should have had Keyshawn George there as well. And then lastly, my all defensive teams, I went with Dyson, Mobley, Draymond, Dort, and Zubats, with J-Dub, Kamara, Amen, Giannis, and Triple J on all defensive second team. Honorable mentions, Jaden McDaniels, Jason Tatum, Bam Adebayo, OG Anunoby, and Chris Dunn. I wanted to get 2 Thunder in there, but it was tough. Like, I'd be okay if McDaniels made it. And I think Zubats deserves some all-defensive first-team love. So that's going to be for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, I would appreciate you dropping a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of this list that I talked about here today. And maybe if you want to give me your playoff predictions or anything like that to start things off, why not? And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.